In this video, I'd like to demonstrate how we can use a dependency model to perform automated impact analysis. In other words, to see what resources would be impacted if we were to shut down a particular server, service, or in this case a database. So let's select one of the databases and have the system perform an automatic impact analysis. So here we see all the dependencies upon this database, which is deployed on dbprod, the server. Everything to the left is either directly dependent upon the database or indirectly dependent. Shut down this database and we'd be impacting these services as well as these two applications, two users, and also a business process. Now let's demonstrate another use case of the dependency model. Let's assume that I'm a manager and one of my technical workers is requesting to perform some routine maintenance on an Apache instance this weekend, and we'd like to see what dependencies are associated with that Apache instance. So here I've searched for every object with Apache in the name, and we've come up with about a dozen services, and we'd like to see a bit more information, some context perhaps, that shows us where these Apache instances are hosted. And so now we can see the Apache instances are deployed on a selection of servers, in some cases physical servers, in other cases virtual. So perhaps it's the Apache on v7 that our technician was referring to. So we'll select that object and perform an impact analysis. So here the system has backtraced all the dependencies to this Apache instance. And we see that Mailman depends on Apache, and the mailing lists and ultimately the email application are dependent as well. Maybe that's not the Apache instance that the technician was referring to, and instead it was the Apache Oracle 10 GAS R2. So let's select that one and have the system perform the impact analysis. So here we can see there's a lot more resources dependent upon this particular Apache instance. And if we were to shut down this Apache, we'd be impacting multiple applications as well as multiple business processes, and there'd be multiple users involved as well. So let's go back to the previous diagram so we can add information to the dependency model so that all future users performing an impact analysis will be made aware of this additional dependency. So here's the dependency tree for the Apache service on v7. And let's say we were going to add another object. Perhaps there's another application that has a dependency on the mailing list service. So let's give it a name. So we've just created a new application, and now we can create a relationship to one of the resources here. And so now we can see that the tracker application is dependent upon the mailing list service, and the mailing list service ultimately is dependent upon Apache. So anybody performing an impact analysis on this Apache instance will now see that the tracker application is dependent as well.